Welcome back, aliens. This is Naveen Reddy from Telusko Learnings, and in this video we'll talk about XML. So XML basically stands for this extensible. So that is extensible markup language. Okay. So why it is called as markup language? Because we specify something. So example, if you have familiar with HTML, so in HTML we use tags, right? So those tags are called as marks. Okay. So example, we have B tag. So B refers to bold, right? So that is a tag here. So this is a markup, right? So it's a language, markup language, and you can add your own tags here. So it's not specific that you have to use inbuilt tags. You can have your own tags, and that was it's called as extensible, which is expandable, right? Now, question arises: why we require HTML? Why we require XML, and why it's so famous? You know, if you talk about this world, we are living in information age, right? In this information age, everything what matters is information. Example, you want to talk to someone, you use WhatsApp. You want to check other people's life, you use Facebook, right? And why Facebook is so famous? It's because it doesn't matter what's happening in your life. It's important that what is happening in other people's life, right? So if you're talking about all this data, so to process data, we have languages like Java, C++, C#, right? But how to send data from one place to other place? Example, let's say if I have a client here and a server, I want data from the server, right? Now this server has two choices. So whenever you want server to give you data, so server can give you data in HTML format. So in HTML we send both the data, right? We send HTML plus we send XML. So we send data and we say the tags, right? But let's say I don't want to send the tags. I just want to send the data. So we use XML, because in HTML we also specify something called as layout. I don't want to send the layout, I just want to send the data, so we'll use XML data. Because in XML data, let's say if I want to send 3000, so what exactly this 3000 is? So this 3000 can be points, it can be rank, or it can be the salary, right? So you have to be very specific. This is a salary here, so that's your salary. So we can specify salary in this bracket. So this 3000 is salary, right? That's why we mention XML file. Now let's, so where it will be used. So XML, you can use XML in, so you can use XML where? First, we can use XML to transfer data. We can use XML for configuring this framework. So we can configure the framework. And in Android, so let's say if you're using Android, so you can design using XML, right? So if you know about Android, in Android we have we create designs using XML. And when you work with Spring framework, let's say when you're working with Java and you have Spring, you have Hibernate, you have JPA, so you configure all these servers or all these frameworks with the help of XML, and we use XML for transferring data. So for transfer data, we use XML. And now currently we have a new technology which is called JSON, which is JavaScript object notation, right? So we have these three things. We have transfer data, configure, and design. So that's the uses of XML. Now how it exactly looks like. So let's say I want to create an XML now. So I will create an XML here and will say I want to store my name. Okay, so if I have my name, which is Naveen, so I will say I will use a name tag. I will specify the name as Naveen, and I need to close this name. Okay. So it is compulsory to close the tag when you open it. So we have to follow some rules. So the first rule for the XML is every opening tag needs a closing tag. Second, every XML file. So this is XML file here. So that's your .xml file. Every XML file needs a root tag. Example, if I have a root tag as aliens. So you all are aliens, right? So we have aliens tag, right? So alien tags open, alien tag close, and all your tags will be inside this aliens tag. Example, we have an alien tag, and we have the closing for alien tag, and we have the tag which is salary here. Let's say 3000, and that's a salary. Okay, so we have an alien tag. We can also have one more, so we can copy this code here. So we'll be having one more tag which is alien. So these two alien tags are inside aliens tag, right? So this is a root tag now. So these aliens will be called as root tag. So this is root tag, and inside that you have multiple tags. Sounds good? And yeah, so that's how we can create an XML file, right? Now in this XML file, we have two things: the structure of the XML file and the data. Okay, so we have a structure and then we have data, right? So we can specify something called as grammar for XML. So you can define the grammar with the help of, so we have two types of grammar. One is called as structure grammar. It will define the layout. And the second one is, it's the content grammar. So this data is the content, right? And you can define the structure grammar with the help of DTD, which stands for document type definition. And you can define the grammar for the content with the help of schema. So that's schema. Now, how exactly we can do that, that we'll see once we start the practical, okay? So this is just the theory of XML. So we have XML stands for Extensible Markup Language, and it can be used to transfer data, to configure the frameworks, and to, what, one more? It was to design the layouts, right? To design something. Then this is how you can create XML. So we require a root tag. Every opening tag needs a closing tag, right? So we can have child elements, we can have parent elements here. So these are elements also. And if we talk about XML, we have to specify two things. We have to specify the grammar. It can be structural grammar, it can be content grammar. And if we talk about structure grammar, we have to use DTD, and for content grammar, we can use schema. We can use schema to define both the grammars. We can define structure as well as content using schema, but using DTD, we can only work with structure. How exactly to perform that? Well, that we'll see in the practical session. So make sure you watch the practical session, but before that, do subscribe for further videos. Thank you so much.